I'm Murisani Ravele. The COVID-19 pandemic catapulted mental health issues into the spotlight. As the world came to a standstill, we too had to stand still and face ourselves. Today on For the Culture, we meet at the intersection of culture and mental health. How do you identify when something is not okay with you? When you need to start having that self-introspection? How do we move away and past taboos and negative stigmas when it comes to mental health matters? Joining me for this conversation today are actress and the founder of The Power of Wellness, Mona Munyani, as well as broadcaster and host of Mzansi Wethu's Siza Mina talk show, Siyabonga Mbuzwana Viti. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks a lot.
Sia, what do you think the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has been on mental health issues, as well as coupled with shows such as Siza Mina?
In this talk show, Mzansi is not afraid to tell it like it is.
100%.
100%. Are you willing to take a DNA test right now?
From Ama Love Life.
Found out it's
She's a boy.
It's wrong. Baby, I could eat you for.
Yeah, that's.
Kinda like
What do you mean?
To family matters.
She took the money.
Where did the money go? Spaza shop.
Yes, Spaza shop.
Spaza shop say 80,000.
And everything in between.
Waping.
Siza Mina Season 1, Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on Mzansi Wethu.
I think COVID-19 gave us an opportunity to self-introspect, and also then obviously with everything that was happening around us, gave us a big scare. Also, as Black people, we don't talk about stuff like that, right? You know, if you tell somebody in your household that get depressed, it's like, hey, please, don't be lazy, pick yourself up and move.
And keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Do you think that then gives birth to shows like Siza Mina, where we are not always talking about the light and jovial subject matters, but you really tackle some serious issues where, as you said, as Black people, we don't usually talk about such things?
Well, I think a show like Siza Mina gives, society at large an opportunity to talk about these matters. And that's what it is. Sometimes we grow up in households where you never talk to your mother. You know the love she's giving you is not the love that you want, but
you don't know how to express that.
And it's also a no-go subject. There's various things. Your brother is taking drugs, but it's like, so we don't talk about abuse. It's like, that's how it is. We're not talking about, and abuse is broad, right? It's verbal abuse, it's emotional abuse, then obviously physical abuse as well. So I think Siza Mina as a show opens that platform for dialogue, but it also opens a platform to give help.
Yes.
Because I think some of us need help, and we just don't know how to get it.
Speaking of help, Mona, what was the spark for you that said, Hakishap, I need to check in on myself, I need to do something because I'm not in the right place?
I think what's not the spark?
Wow.
Outside of having gone through the loss of my child, the burning of the house, the divorce situation.
All in a short space of time, mind
in 5
you.
years. In 5 years. So by the time COVID happened, I was already in this, like literally when lockdown happened, my home had burned down. So now I'm in lockdown, in a rental, and I've left my marriage and the career is dead, and I'm sitting there going, okay, no. Clearly nothing is going right. Everything is falling apart and the world has stopped. So this is an opportunity for me, to also just prioritize. It is self-introspection. It is taking accountability of our own healing, and as you say, the conversations that need to be had that aren't being had. When you're stuck in the house with your family, it's a lot, hey? You kind of like, ooh, this woman.
Actually, I don't like this person.
This child. So it really, that was for me looking at my life and saying there's enough very astronomical effects and events that are occurring all at one time that I cannot not prioritize my wellness.
And you took it a step further. You then not only were having the introspection, but you were having it so publicly and you were sharing it with everyone.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration behind that for you? Because you didn't have to tell us, you know? You didn't have to be sharing the videos and the captions where you're just like, actually, let me pull away the veil and show you guys what's really happening and how I'm feeling.
You know, it was a calling. I'm a very intentional human being. And so when you sit and you go through that question of, okay, how do I heal myself? How do I be okay? When I lost my daughter, I'd asked, you know, I'd gone into a space of complete darkness. I didn't know who I was as a woman, as a mother, as a person. Creatively, I was blocked. So I was sitting and I was like, yo, man, I'm hurting, but I see that I'm not the only one. And some of these themes a lot of people can, you know, identify with and connect with. And I am so intentional about constantly questioning how can we continue to be the best versions of ourselves? How can we really identify in our society what's wrong and then actively be the voices of change? You know, it's not enough to just heal yourself or your family in isolation, but it is, I do feel I have a responsibility to be a voice in this nation.
I like that. I like that. Being active citizens in different ways, and you do it on your show, Siyabonga. But when it comes to mental health matters, one of the biggest taboos and negative stigmas is men.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking about not being okay. What are your thoughts on that?
I think guys need to start crying a little bit more.
Please!
I do that every now and then, particularly, and I'm a silly crier, like, you know, the scene from Flippin' Lion King.
Makes you emotional.
I cry.
Is it the one where his dad is lying in the court,
scene.
right? And he goes,
I cry to that
somebody,
scene. You know, like if my favorite team wins, I cry. If you know, somebody that's going through pain, I may not know that person, but I will cry because it's also, you know, I'm not afraid to do so. And I think a lot of gents just don't do that. And then they harbor all the stuff. And I think those are the things culturally we need to start tackling, because we also teach our male kids those same things. You know, like we need to just start getting away from all that stuff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and your thoughts on that, Mona, of, you know, unlearning the negative teachings that have been placed upon the boy child who is now a grown man who doesn't know that actually I'm having a mental breakdown that I don't need to be taking out on somebody else physically, but I can actually speak to someone. I can look in the mirror and have conversations with my inner child about what has hurt me so that I don't hurt others.
This is the issue, isn't it? The fatherlessness, the lack of leaders, and most importantly, the lack of having leaders who model themselves after. But what I've chosen this position for myself. With the Power of Wellness movement, I prioritize the healing of females, because I've realized that a man can't cry or speak if we don't know how to listen. We struggle very much to listen as females. We struggle very much to take accountability of when we have done something wrong. We struggle to say, I'm sorry. There are things right now that we are expecting of men that biologically they are not designed to be able to do. But how do we also facilitate an environment where they can express their individuality, where we receive them as they are, not project an idea of who we want them to be? And why do I prioritize women? We give birth to both male and female. It has to start with us.
It begins with our creation.
It has to. You know, if you give a man a sense of peace, you're not going to have problems. But we are asking, right? A lot of them. But we're not allowing ourselves to see the effect of having a fatherless nation, the effect of not having good examples in daughter. You know, they'll say in daughter, but
even in
what
his
is that?
own upbringing.
In his own upbringing, you know. We speak about it all the time as females, daddy issues and whatever, but a man can have daddy issues, he can have mommy issues. You find actually the abuse stems from the relationship that he had with his mother that was toxic, you know. So I am as I said, I've appointed myself to say,
what can I do?
how can we take accountability as females, and in doing that, really offer our kings an opportunity to be themselves and to heal themselves and to cry.
For you, Siawanga, Mona just picked up on a thread I'd love to pull on the healing the inner child and childhood traumas that a lot of us are also carrying as a result of our lineage.
Yeah.
Some of the things we're going through, it's not us that are going through them, but it is us who must do the healing.
Yeah.
How are you in your own personal space doing that?
Okay, I'm going to tell a personal story. As we're shooting this, it's the eve of my birthday. I'm turning 41 tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
I know, thanks. I did that just for that. But I was 40 years old when I met my father for the first time. And growing up as a Xhosa man, you can just imagine the trauma I had to go through. And also, not only that, you go to school with a Jonathan and a Craig, and then Jonathan is getting picked up
By his dad
after a rugby match. You need to wait for transport as a Glanda, and then you grow up, you have to go through the rite of passage as a Xhosa man. You look around, your father's not there. So that is something I still carry to this day, as much as me and him are cool now. But also, I look at my mom and I'm like, can't say the word, but you know what I mean. And it's one of those things personally I don't think I've dealt with. As much as I'm there solving other people's problems, I need to deal with that in terms of how do I now become a better father to my kids, and also without having those triggers of, my dad was in there, I don't even know how to do this father thing. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? But I think each and every day, and as Mona was saying, I have to take the ownership of that, to say, I'm not him. He did that whenever he did it. I will be a better father to my kids. I do forgive him for not being a part of my life. And I can only, I guess, just move on.
Yeah.
But also, as I move on, how do I move on? Who do I talk to about this? This is probably the 5th time I've shared this with anybody, and now it's going to go for everybody's consumption. And how do people look at me when I say these things? Because sometimes we hide these things because we want to appear as best as we can be.
Yeah.
So I think I'm still trying to deal with that trauma myself.
Siawanga, Mona,
Ngiyazina.
Lolibwanga Manda, thank you for opening your hearts and your spirits and just being honest. Just showing up in your honesty. I really, really appreciate it. I hope that you watching also find the courage to go within to heal all that you need to begin healing. As Mona said, it is a journey. But know that you're not alone, and it's okay to not be okay. Don't forget to catch Usiawanga on Mzansi Wetu channel 163 on Sizamina as he helps all of us deal with issues both serious and not so serious and helping us to move forward. You can also catch it on DStv Catch Up. Remember, if you ever need to reach out to someone and have a conversation, please contact the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, that's SADC, on 0800 456 789.